everyone, thank you for joining me. I am Bev from Inkwell, and this week it is Halloween week. We are finally here, and this will be the last Halloween craft session for the year, unfortunately, because I've really enjoyed them. So I thought we'd have a look at shadow boxes today. This is just a simple shadow box that I got from IKEA. And the good thing about shadow boxes is there's quite a lot of depth in there and you can put things in them. So, I know a lot of people do different things with these. You can collect things from a holiday or maybe sentimental things from another time in your life. But today we're going to make a Halloween one. So I'm going to make a little bit of a scene in here. We're going to make all the little elements together and put it together, and then you can display it in your house. So yes, without further ado, let's have a look at what we need. So you'll need a shadow box. Like I say, I got this one from IKEA. I think you can get them from like Wilkinson's and anywhere that usually sells picture frames. You're also going to need bits of fabric or paper. It's totally up to you. For the background, I'm going to use some fabric to paint over. You're going to need a bit of cardboard just to wrap some fabric and whatnot around to make your little bits to go in here. I'm going to make a little bit of a graveyard scene in this one. So I'm going to make like little tombstones with fabric and card. And also I'm going to use some moss for the grass in the graveyard. And then I'm going to make some little pumpkins. So I've got some sort of rusty coloured fabric here. I wanted my shadow box to look quite old. So I've gone for like rusty kind of colours. And then I've just got like a bunch of acrylic paints then to paint things with. So I'm going to use a glue stick to glue stuff together. You'll probably need some scissors. I picked up a couple of twigs from the garden as well, just to sort of make some trees out of. And yes, that's about everything, I think. So without further ado, let's get going. So in a bid to make my picture frame look old and distressed, I am going to use a bit of fabric just to sort of get some paint on. I'm just going to put a really light coat of paint on. So I've just got a scrappy old bit of fabric here. And I'm going to put a black on. So I'm just going to put a really light coat on here. You can see that there's sort of trails in the paint. That's fine because I want to create a bit of a woody sort of effect. So I'm just putting this paint on really lightly because I'm just going to bob a couple of layers on. And I'm going to put it on the front, just in the lips here as well, and then round the sides. I want to cover up all these areas that you might see. So give your paint chance to dry in between layers. I want this to look like wood, so I've gone in the same direction with my brush strokes, as it were. I know it's not brush, it's a piece of fabric, but and then just add a couple of layers then. I'm quite happy at this being sort of black and grey. If you've got a black frame, then maybe you want to add a bit of brown to it to make it look a bit woody. It's totally up to you what you do, or maybe you just want to add a bit of white to it and just sort of give it that grey colour. Just show you now, if you put sort of bits of different colours in, you get these. In between your frame drying, what you could be doing is to make some of the little ornaments that you're going to have inside it. So I'm just going to make a gravestone here. I'm going to make sort of a simple one, and then I'm going to make one in the shape of a cross as well. The choice is yours. You can either paint the cardboard, or you could cover it with fabric and paint the fabric. I think the painted fabric looks quite good, so that's the option that I'm going to take. So I've got my two sort of simple shapes here, and then I have some cream sort of coloured fabric. Simply draw around those, just make sure that there's enough at the back just to cover it. So with the cross headstone, I'm just going to cut little slits in the corners there, and that'll help me wrap the fabric around the cardboard shape that I've cut out. Okay, so once you've got your shapes ready, then it's time to just paint them. Like I said, I'm going for a sort of grey sort of colour here, trying to make them look a bit like stone. And if you can paint this on with a dry brush or dab it on with a piece of fabric, then you are winning. I'm going to use a bit of fabric. This is just a bit of cut off from what I was doing then. And then you can either write on with a paintbrush then, or a marker pen. I would be worried that the marker pen would bleed. I guess it depends how much paint you've put on here though. And then I'm going to put like a couple of pumpkins on here just to make it look a bit Halloweeny. So it's just a super simple, really easy way to make a pumpkin. This is just a bit of cotton wool here, and I've cut a circle out of my fabric, and then what you want to do is wrap it around your ball of cotton wool, and gather it round, sort of squish it into your shape. Then you sort of get these lines then of the pumpkin, sort of the suggested lines. And then I'm just going to wrap some gaff tape around the top here just to give it the pumpkin stalk. And then you can cut that off just to neaten it up. And then if you wanted to, you could draw a little face in the side of it. Just to make it look like it's being carved. Okay, so once you've made a few pumpkins, I think we need a ghost as well. So I've got a bit of old fabric, some more old fabric, and for the ghost, I'm just going to stuff the head with a bit of cotton wool and then sort of have a bit of fabric draping down from that. This is just some old dress fabric that I had that has a bit of a shine to it. You could use muslin or cheesecloth or anything sort of similar to that. And you just want to cut out a square. And then afterwards you can sort of shape it however you feel looks best. You can cut zigzags into it. I would suggest though that you first get your sort of initial shape going on and then you can work from there with it. So what I'm going to do with this is to glue my cotton wool into there, and then because my fabric's quite stiff and has a reluctance to sort of sit down straight, I'm then going to glue around here and squish it together then. Okay, so that's my little ghost, and again I'm just going to paint a little face on it. So I'm just going to paint some eyes on here. and a little ghosty mouth. So there you go. Okay, so your frame should be dry by now. So I'm just taking the back of the box out now. And I'm going to cover this in my black fabric. I'm going to make a nighttime scene here. You could cover it in blue fabric, it's totally up to you. And I'm just going to sort of wrap this around a little bit. So once you've covered your board, then it's a matter of making it look how you want it to. In this case, I'm going to try and make it look like a bit of a night sky. So I'm going to have some sort of dark grey clouds going on here. I'm going to use my fabric trick again. I feel like the paint goes on better on top of fabric with another piece of fabric. And I'm going to make a moon then for the background as well. So the moon, I am going to cut out of cardboard and then I'm going to cover that in fabric. So for the moon, just a piece of cardboard and then I'm going to cover that in some of the cream fabric. And then once I've covered that, then I'm going to paint it like I have done with the gravestones. Again, I'm just going to cut a shape that's a little bit larger than the shape that I've got, and then I can glue it to the back. So the moon, then I'm just going to stick onto the sky. Because mine's going to be a graveyard, I'm going to stick some of this moss just onto the inside here. I've also got some twigs here. I wanted to have some sort of trees going on. And what I'm going to do with these is stick these to the backdrop. My ghost sort of floating towards the moon. Put a bit of glue on him. New gravestones, they can sort of go at the front if you want, so you could be placing those in between the moss and the glass. And then once you've got everything in place, then it's time to put your backdrop on. Make sure everything's sitting right when you get that on. The very last of the spooky videos. Hope you've enjoyed them all. I've really loved making them. It's been good to have a regular theme to use. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed them too. Thanks for joining me again. Happy Halloween to you all, and I will see you again next week. Until then, take care. Bye.